everybody and welcome to the channel Bob Sales this times next year. So hello everybody and welcome to the channel Bob Sales this times next year. So I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about the Happy Tree Friends drop. So I was actually excited about the drop, wasn't too sure what was in the mystery box, mind you. So in this video we're going to get into that and we're going to talk about the aftermath after that drop. So first off, the collectibles themselves. The animations are great, just as expected, just like the first season of Happy Tree Friends. So really great items, really great collectibles. Don't mind the price, and the market prices right now are so cheap on the uncommon and the common. Literally crazy prices. Like I think you can get one of them for 3 gems right now. That is an absolute steal for the animations. Again, Happy Tree Friends, they're a lot more bloody than the ones we're getting in VeVe, but it's nice to see these ones had a bit more blood to them, a bit more gore than the last ones. But again, it's towing that line between what is for adults and what is for kids. But Happy Tree Friends is a very adult franchise, put it that way, and very bloody, by the way. Kind of like South Park, I'd describe it. So anyway, let's talk about the whole thing. So what did I do on drop? So I actually went for the drop. Of course, I was going to go for the drop. I went for the drop and I actually got 2 commons, which really hurt right now because the market was 5 gems after, and I believe it's like 3.5 now. So yeah, to pay £20, instantly lose pretty much 90% of the money right there. That hurt quite a bit. But then I had a feeling to try and go for it again, and then lo and behold, it got the ultra rare. Now, when I first looked at the prices, it was 175 gems at the time. So that was good money for 20 gems, right? My total investment was 60 gems, but then I did buy the uncommon for 10 gems. So I have actually got the whole set now and I'm ready, and I'm not sure what to do. Do I craft for the points? Do I burn my set for the points? Is it worth the money? Is it worth the points at this stage? So this video, we're going to get into that. So as I say, my personal cost so far, I would say, is about 70 gems. I got 3 on drop, and then obviously I had to buy the extra one I didn't get. So I sold one of them for like 5 gems or something, which was an instant loss, but wasn't too bad. Didn't mind too much about that. Now, the thing is, now this is where it gets interesting. So the mystery box was revealed to be basically 100,000 points of MCP. So with this, we all know in VeVe, you basically can use this to skip the wait list, to get on a wait list, to get ahead of others, the more amount you bid. At this stage, my points are currently 230k, I believe, after 2.5 years of collecting, I believe, or well, selling, buying, collecting, whatever you want to call it, all of them things above. At current, I hold 81 collectibles, 293 comics, and I currently have 12 sets. Never really been a set person, I must admit, and I never used to be a collectibles person until the animations and stuff started to achieve. So half of the serial killers and stuff like that, the first ones, I wasn't really interested in stuff like that, Cornos, although I've had probably all of them bought and sold over the years, I must admit. But yeah, not really my sort of thing. When the collectibles started to get me was when the downturn of the comics started to happen. And then I could see there was just more interest in the collectibles at that point. If you list a comic, for instance, it takes a lot longer to sell than it does for a collectible. So I knew at that point my bag was to put it into the collectibles, right? So at this point, like I was saying before I start rambling on. So like I was saying, my points currently are 230k. After 2.5 years, I would say, and holding roughly that same amount there and there, about that amount of collectibles and items. So it's basically cost versus the value right now. So the cost to me, or the cost to, so if you was to buy everything in the market right now, the ultra rare was sitting at 170. That has now gone down to 140, I believe. There's still a couple of days left till the crafting. So there's a possibility they may go up, but there is a possibility more people will buy and hit the buy now button, and then more will come on the market as well. So there's both of them things to think about. So 100,000 points. So like I said, 2.5 years holding all that stuff. Not the biggest account in the world, must admit, but I've done a lot of action in the account itself, buying, selling, whatever else. I've had no end of collectibles, got rid of them. So right now I could get the 100,000 and I've got pretty much half my points what I've collected in 2.5 years. So that's a lot of points if you think about it that way, right? But then also, if I was to get the craft, I then need to burn my collectibles, which I actually pretty like anyway. But right now, if I was to sell the collectibles, I'm going to get roughly 160, 170 gems top end right now at this minute. So it's that question right now. How much are the MCP points worth to you? I've seen different feedback on Twitter over the last couple of days. So the big holders of MCP, for instance, are somewhat not liking this at all. The aspect of this whole craft, the aspect of why it's so many points to give away, which is quite a lot of points, as I've just explained. And I can see their point because they've been holding, they've been collecting. Some people do actually aim for stuff like that. Some of the whales, some people like that. Some people did try to get that upper hand by getting the points, right? Now, people with less will actually like this idea, gives them a chance to level up with some of the others in the app. But there is an argument right now that if you give this to a brand new collector, for instance, you're going to make them level 24 and give them pretty much half the points what I've got after 2.5 years. I can see that argument, I can. But another way of thinking of the same sort of aspect of it is maybe this is rewarding people still here. So right now, as you can see, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to overcoat it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you is the right word. But right now, you can see the interaction with VeVe is getting less. The posts are getting less. The people that are here are getting less. So I think everyone's either just waiting in the background, holding stale at this point, staying quiet, just waiting in the background, hoping some of the things we were promised, VeVe verse, some of these other things, will actually start to come out, like utility for the OMI token, although that has started, we've started to see some progress there with that. Everyone here right now, I believe, is old collectors. I would say 1.5 to 2 years in at least, some older than that. I would say right now it's the hardcores. Only the hardcores are still here, still interacting. Even I've interacted less, I must admit, but that's because everyone's just waiting for the next progress. So the one thing I would say about the MCP points right now, is it worth the value? So right now, I haven't used MCP points bidding in probably 6 months. I've probably not needed to, and every drop I've wanted, I've literally got every single drop I wanted so far. There's been no need to waitlist, no need to bid your points. So for me, maybe the money is probably outweighs the points at this point. But then there is another question. So it does mention you get the points as a gift, right? But it doesn't mention whether you level up with the points. So as we all know, you collect MCP points by leveling up in the VeVe app. But when you spend points, as far as I know, I haven't really spent that many points, your level doesn't go down. So as far as I can see, I actually think this is going to be one of them things where you're going to get the points to spend, but you're not actually going to get the level up to go with the points, if that makes sense. Now, for me, if it's just the points, I don't think it's worth it for me. I think I'd rather collect on the profits of this one and then buy back in after the craft's gone and actually buy the characters back for probably half the price. I'd say the set's probably going to cost you 50 to 60 gems after the crafting's done. We all know it dumps. Sometimes it dumps even quicker than it should, then goes back up a little bit. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen anyway. So if it was to level up and level you up, make me another 24 level, even 20 levels higher than I already am, level 37 currently. That seems a bit more enticing to me, but we're not sure if we get both, right? That's the confusing thing. No one really knows about that. The way I read the article was like, we're just going to get the points. They're going to gift you the points. That's what it's going to be. And again, there's only old people here right now, so it's only benefiting the old people. In some cases, you got to prompt VeVe with credit on some of these cases because this is another form of utility. Although, of course, this is a paid utility, so you have to purchase something in order to get it, rather than having like an old item from Series 1 and then getting a gold statue for free, for instance. Also, it's a new mechanic, new drop mechanic, new reward system. Bit of a random one to just link with any sort of branding. With Happy Tree Friends, you would have thought it would be a Happy Tree Friends item. It did also have FA tag and everything next to the mystery box, like it was going to be. It said FA question mark, question mark, question mark, mint numbers, question mark, question mark, question mark. So I assume maybe it could be a character. Maybe with all the FUD, or maybe with some of the backlash, maybe that's what VeVe adds. They add an extra character for getting the box as well as the MCP points. Do I think we're going to see this again after the backlash VeVe have got? No, I really don't. So right now, you've got to think about it. Is it going to be worth? Is it going to be worth losing the gems for if you want to sell? Because obviously you would sell at this point if you only want the items, right? Because you'd sell, buy back in after the craft, you get them all cheaper. So that's my overall thoughts. Do I think this was an overly bad move by VeVe? No, I really don't. There's not a lot of new people here. The interactions on the post are just getting quieter and quieter at the minute. And I believe everyone's just here waiting. So anyway, I've got a bad throat, so I'm going to love you and leave you now. So I've been your host, bobsales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. Peace!
What I'm now going to do is either make your dream come true or not. I hope this is the dream.